Hey everyone, welcome to entry number 14 of the new entry series. I know I haven't done one in a while and haven't done any real videos in a while, like myself in front of this camera. But, in this entry I'm here to talk about what a whole week it was almost, if you will, for me. I'll give you an example. You know, on the Well, practically on the 4th, my mom started her spring break, Easter break, resurrection break, whatever you want to call it, for the week. And from Sunday till Wednesday, it was just me and my mom was relaxing. And, of course, on the 4th of this month, it was, of course, Easter, so we had a little Easter thing at my sister's. And probably told you about that already. But anyway, after that, like I said, for the past few days, it was just me and my mom relaxing, and then all of a sudden, on Wednesday, I'm outside mowing the lawns, and as soon as I come in, my mom tells me, "Hey, Brian, guess what I got? Guess who called? Well, guess who I'm going to get?" And I can only assume that it was my nephew. So she said, "Yep." She said, and it was my 13-year-old, it was my 14-year-old nephew she was going to get. And I really wasn't surprised by this at all, to be quite honest, because it seems every spring break, at least for maybe 1 week or so during the summer break, my nephew comes down to spend the week, if you will, or most of the week, or half the week over here. And the reason he does this is not just because he wants to spend time with us, me and my mom, but he mostly does this because, he does it because of this. Well, not specifically this one, but the one that's in the rec room, the newer one. But in the past, it used to be just this one. The reason for that is because we found out that, and I'm not going to get into any personal details in case my family watches this, but let's just say he did something that upset his parents. Well, let's just say he became how do I put this? He became the sneaker of the family. Basically, he did something. Basically, he was like the financial sneaker of the family. Let's just say he did something that affected my sister and her husband's finances, his parents' finances, and, he got a lot of things taken away from him. Most importantly, he got the computer taken away from him, his privilege on that, as well as he got one of his game systems taken away. And I think you know the one I'm probably talking about because you've probably seen it in some of my videos. So, at first it didn't seem like he wanted to come down this week, but then, again on Wednesday my mom got the call while I was out mowing the lawns, and so she went and got him. And ironically, also that day, my brother-in-law Lewis brought his son over because him and my older sister were going to go out that night, do a little karaoke and whatever. So they brought their son. He brought his only son over, and so basically for one whole day we had both of them in the house, which is okay. It's no big deal. Glad to have them. And then after he left on Thursday, we just had my 14-year-old nephew. And most of the time, my 14-year-old nephew, he spent most of the time in front of the PC. The only negative thing about it was the fact that on Friday, I don't know how long he'd been going between the PC and the Nintendo Wii and all that, but on Friday, he told my mom that he didn't feel so good. that something was wrong. So he felt like something just upset him. And well, it wasn't Friday actually. It was Saturday, I should say, more like Saturday, not Friday, because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was mainly spent on the PC. He was a little in between with the Wii and all that. So on Saturday, again, we don't know how long he was on the computer, but he started to go in between. But he started to feel sick a little bit, and he told my mom, that he didn't feel so well. He had a headache and everything. So I went out, got medicine, got some Tylenol and 7-Up and things like that. And then the next day, I'm waking up, and I hear my nephew and my mom out, in the living room. And apparently my nephew's telling her that he feels like he's going to throw up, so he goes into the guest bathroom or the guest restroom and throws up in there. And then lies back down. And, my mom went to church afterwards. I mean, I went ahead of her because I had to do communion with a friend of ours who also does Awanas with us. So I had to go and help her with communion. So, but later on that day, going into the evening, he started to feel a lot better, started to act like himself again. But not to take any chances, my mom convinced his mom, my second oldest sister, to let him stay one more day so he can get fully over it. And then today he was over it, but then all of a sudden he felt like he was developing strep throat. Well, apparently his parents know him better than my mom does, and apparently more than I do. So they just believe this is just another maybe excuse on his part not to go to school. And we also found out some other things, but I'm not going to go into any detail. But let's just say what we told his parents during dinner tonight, because we went out with them to Los Gaviettos, I can't even pronounce the name. It's a Mexican restaurant here in town. And apparently we told them about something, I'm not going to go into details, and they just say that is just another one of his acts. So to get, to take advantage of something, or to get sympathy or whatever. Excuse me for a second. Okay. But anyway, they just said it's one of his acts. So, my mom's hoping and praying that, he didn't totally lie to her. She feels as though, being the grandmother, that perhaps there was some truth to it. But, but like I told my mom, even though I'm not a parent, the parents know the children better than the grandparents or anybody else. So what we discussed there and here, well, I'm not going to get into, let's just say it's kind of up in the air. We're going to learn probably more in the near future. But also during this past week with my nephew here as well, I went out and I got myself a couple of things. I kind of treated myself, if you will. One, I got myself a Kobe 2GB MP3 player. I was thinking of getting myself an iPod, but then I figured, well, I don't really want to spend that much money right now, so I'm going to go with something different. And for $25, I got this, a Kobe MP3 player. Holds 1,000 songs, hopefully. I think part of it's also been used up already for like the programs and stuff, but so far there's over 300 songs on here, about 330 almost, which is pretty cool. And I'll probably talk about this later on. But that's the Kobe. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have one of these, because instead of spending all that money just because you want songs and video and all that, this probably works out. There was another thing over at the Walmart as well. There's also another thing at the Walmart as well. It was by Sylvan, or whatever it's called. Excuse me for a second. Okay, I still got time. But it was by the Sylvan people, and it was sort of like an MP4, MP3 player, but with video and all that. And then yesterday, got myself a Virgin Mobile right here. And apparently I got a new message on here. But this cost me about $11.99. I had a little bit of problems with it at first because I couldn't really figure it out because I didn't know where the the number was on the card here. Apparently it's right here. Excuse me for a second. Apparently it's on the receipt. But yeah, it worked out fine. I already got some contacts on there, and I'll be back in a second. Didn't think this was going to be two-part.